So hi everyone, it's Ryan here, and I'm going to share a quick video on the Enneagram practices that I'm suggesting for the week. So essentially what we're doing with the Enneagram is we need to start practicing because, if you keep it as a theoretical model, then it just stays kind of in the cerebral space. So the practicing, what that helps us to do is to catch the patterns as they arise. And that's really powerful because the essence of the Enneagram is actually catching the behavior as it's happening rather than, reflecting back afterwards. Obviously that can be useful as well, but with the ideal situation is that we're actually able to be aware of ourselves and see the pattern engage as it's actually happening. So that's the point of this practice, is starting to wake up to those patterns in our everyday life, in the situations or the circumstances when they start to engage. So this little video, all I'm going to do is I'm going to do one practice that applies to everyone. So we can call this a centering practice. And I'm going to suggest that everyone does this at least once a day. If you can do it twice or three times, even better. So essentially all you're doing with the centering is we're just coming back to ourselves. We're giving ourselves a few minutes where we're just sitting with ourselves and we're paying attention to what's in the field of our body, the sensations. We're paying attention to what's in our heart space, our emotions, and we're paying attention to our thoughts without getting caught up in them. So when we see ourselves getting hooked up in thought or story or ideas about the past or the future, then it's just we bring ourselves back to the simple practice of being with our breath, being with our body, being with this experience. So I'm sure many of you have a meditation practice, and if that's the case, then just continue with that. And if there's anything in this video that helps you, then just incorporate that. I would just say incorporate that to your existing practice. So what you want to do when I call this glimpsing, and I get that term from Locke Kelly. He's got a beautiful book called Effortless Mindfulness, and he really suggests that we do these glimpses, short, quick meditations, but more frequently during the day. And the idea behind that is that by doing more frequent meditations, we don't really need to come out of meditation so much. We don't need to see ourselves going into and out of meditation. The idea is to start taking the thread that we find or discover in meditation and bringing that through in our day. So the glimpse is pretty simple, or the centering practice, whatever you want to call it, very simple. All you're going to do is you're going to find a time. So I would really recommend that you stick to the same time or more or less the same time every day. And all you're going to do is you are going to commit to 1 or 2 minutes. And if more comes, that's awesome. But 1 or 2 minutes where you're just sitting with yourself in a way where you're not trying to judge yourself or you're not trying to change anything. You're just observing. So what that looks like is that you find a comfortable place, like a chair or wherever you feel comfortable, and then all you're going to do is just pay attention to what it feels like sitting in the chair. It's always good to start with grounding, so you can bring your attention to your feet and it's almost like you drop your mind into your feet and just pay attention to how your feet feel, the sensations that are there. You can pay attention to the feet connecting to the ground. So just taking a moment, feeling the feet to the ground, to the earth, and then that's called grounding. And then from there, it's just a question of you keep your attention inside, so your attention in and down. For some people in the belly, if you hold your attention in the belly, that's useful. It might be easy to hold your attention in the heart, but just keep your attention in the body. So not so you could see it as like you unhook from the mind and you just drop your attention into the body. And get used to that feeling of having your attention in the body. Just having a sense of where it's tense in the body. What are the places that are tight, that are tense? What are the places that are at ease? And especially those places that are tense, all you're doing is you're bringing this kind attention to those places and just letting the sensation be there as it is, not trying to change anything. That sounds so super easy, but like many of you know, it's really not easy. This idea of just letting ourselves be maybe is one of the most difficult projects we can imagine, because we naturally have a lot of resistance to pain, unpleasantness, discomfort, all those things. So what this practice is really about is getting centered in that discomfort as well as the comfort, in the pleasure as well as the places that don't feel good. So the centering really is bringing our attention in and down, and just staying with ourselves for a few minutes at a time. Just stay with your experience, whatever that is, being aware of these three centers that the Enneagram talks about, or that the Enneagram models to us: the center of the mind, the center of the heart, and the center of the belly. So that's sensation, that's emotion, and that's thoughts. That's all you're going to be experiencing. If you think about it, when we center, that's all we can experience. It's thoughts, feelings, and sensations. And the more we can get into the habit of just letting them be there, and just being curious, using this curious kind of mindset or mind's eye, where we just, with curiosity, allow, witness, watch. And what tends to happen is those sensations, or whatever we're witnessing, we give them space to complete the cycle, or to complete their cycles. And that's really key, because the more we can trust our bodies and trust the sensations or the emotions, the more we can come to completion. And that's what this is really about, is not getting caught up in those things. So that's the practice. I'd really recommend that you do it, if you can, 2-3 times a day. Don't aim big, start small, 1 or 2 minutes just sitting with yourself in a non-judgmental way, just witnessing. That's all you need to do. That's called centering. At the end of your practice, it's good to resource. So you ground in the beginning with feet on the earth. You just stay with the body for a while, paying attention to what's there. When you get distracted, bring yourself back. That's all you need to do. The mind will start churning out thoughts and stories and all those things that it usually does. All we do is we bring ourselves back when it does that, back to our purpose, which is just to be with ourselves. And then at the end of the meditation, what we do is we resource. So just think of something that supports you, uplifts you. It might be a fragrance, might be a color, might be a flower, might be a person, pet, whatever it is. You focus on that resource, and just you know it's working because your nervous system feels a bit more relaxed. So that's a good way to end the practice off. So hopefully that helps, and I look forward to sharing the practices with you guys. Bye for now.